Beautiful. So, you know, as I said, like, welcome to the money magnetic money, like whatever I want to call this masterclass. Welcome to it. I'm really, really excited about this because I love all the masterclass I do, love all the challenges I do. Is always different elements that need a desire to come through. And I always get so much revelations and pieces as I sort of channel what wants to come through, to you as well. But one of the reasons why I'm really excited about tonight and more so than many ever is because I'm going to give you something that has made probably one of the biggest differences in my life and in my transformation in the last few years. I've scrolled through the hundreds of thousands, 700,000 it's coming up to now, dollars in programs, in mentors, in coaching, in modalities, in psychology, in, everything. And out of all of that and all of the, I don't know, I think it's been like nearly 50 different programs and mentors I've worked with now. Out of all of that hunting for this gold, like there is something that has made such a difference to me and something in my superconscious that got unlocked that really was like a before and after moment. There was this 1 month, I'll tell you briefly about it in a moment, but I'm going to give you like a key piece around that, and some really big pieces that will support you in understanding breakthrough. And it can be really frustrating and upsetting when you've tried so much and tried so hard and tried for so long, and you're not feeling like the breakthroughs come yet. Like it can be really difficult. And what I'm going to share here, and I literally have just recently spent, over 150K in one mentor, like who's earning multi-millions and, all this awesome stuff, and all these people that I've been working with at a really high level. But I can't underestimate the power of what this piece I'm going to bring you brings, because even in those programs I've been a part of, even in all these big high level coaches I've been with, this isn't often covered because they're not getting to like the core and the underlying part as to why we create what we create and why we do what we do, why we get what we want or we don't get what we want in money, in business, in health, in relationships, anything. I'm going to be giving you the core of that. So I'm super pumped. So yeah, you'll get some deep insight there, Pauline. That's great. Discovering your purpose and abundance, amazing potential and abundance and success. I love the word abundance, and I love what you're bringing to me around abundance as well, ladies, because we can sometimes think abundance is just money or business or whatever. The thing about this that I'm going to share with you is it's the pathway to abundance. It's your spiritual pathway to abundance on all levels. Abundance to me is every single desire you have, every element of who you desire to be, every element of every little thing that you would love to have in your life and big thing, you actually physically creating and experiencing all of it, not just with money, not just with business, like all of your whole life. And so that's what I love. It's that natural success in every field and sphere. That's what our superconscious wants for us. So I'm going to support you in unlocking that, which is awesome. Financial independence, freedom, profitable business, amazing, confidence, heart-centered, very nice. Like I love that. And this is the thing, like this is created with soul, we don't create this just through this sort of mechanical strategy action that just doesn't consider people at the heart of it and our soul and their soul. So I love that. Yeah, I'm glad that you love the free ones. I don't know if they'll be free forever. So you're getting in on them for now. So it's good. Moving through old egoic things and breaking through, freedom to have fun, freedom everywhere. People want freedom. I love that. Soul to connect and have your potential. Again, freedom. Okay, we got really similar themes coming in. Soul, freedom, abundance, success, like through the soul path. Amazing. That's exactly what we're looking at tonight. So I can't wait. I'm super pumped, and let's get going. No further ado, let's keep going. So I just want to tell you briefly, and different ladies here have had different levels of hearing my journey and my story, and some of you have heard it many times, some of you have never heard it before, and it's the first time you've met me. So I just want to briefly tell something around my journey to help illustrate what I'm going to share for the rest of tonight, give you a bit of an insight. And sometimes people have the breakthrough and the insight that comes through when I'm sharing the journey. So, really keep yourself open to listening to this. But as I was alluding to before, I've spent 33 years of my life looking desperately for the answer to success, to abundance, to every desire of mine being unlocked in my relationships, in health, in my business, in money. I literally like studied 8 years of psychology. I studied, as I said, lots of mentors and programs and coaches and lots of money, just trawling and scraping and just trying to find like the answer to how do I break through and begin to create what I want? How do I have this desire and vision in my heart and in my soul? And how do I actually physically get to pull it out in the world and live it in a physical representation? Like it was just sort of an obsession of mine, and this obsession with transformation, but actual deep change that lasted for good, and it was really fulfilling. And not just fulfilling, like it impacted my whole life for the better and other people around me. Not that there was a cost to my life, because so often in the past, I didn't know how to change, and I didn't know how to keep it and make it last. Or if it did start to come, it would end up then impacting other parts of my life. I could grow in my business, but then I would not have relationships, or my health would take a toll. And I was like, how do I just have all my true desires and be all I desire, And there was this real obsession with that, and like looking through ancient wisdom and like alchemy and all of this. Like I was obsessed with it. And so it was difficult though, because as I said, for that 33 years, like I was looking for it, asking about it, doing so many pieces, but it just wasn't really coming about into fruition in my physical world. I was understanding different things and getting different insights, but it's like, didn't seem to matter how much I did. It just wasn't actually playing out in my life to the degree that I wanted. It wasn't playing out in my business. I'd spent so much in coaches and investing in all these pieces, and I still hadn't hit this elusive 10K month mark that everyone goes on about, and I hadn't even hit it consistently. There was 1 month I did create it, but it wasn't consistent. And I was trying like the force approach, the try hard approach, the strategy, action, go, do, very courageous. Like I had a lot of courage. I was a single mom for my whole business. My husband and I separated when I was 6 months pregnant in a really traumatic way. It was a really difficult separation. And I really got very in a dark place, in a really hard place. And I ended up deciding like, I'm not going to let this break me, and I'm not going to let this breakup ruin another part of my life. And so I'm going to create my business, and I'm going to have love for my son, and I'm going to begin to rebuild my life, because it felt like it had just went crashing down in a million pieces in one moment. And so when I made the decision, again, I put all my eggs into like this transformation, and I felt like I had to create it, because I had to create it for my son, and I had to create it for us to live. I was in survival mode. And so I was desperately seeking for these answers, but it didn't seem to matter what I did, how much I spent money on, how much I tried, how much action I took. There was 1 month I was paying $5,000 a month to these coaches. There was 4 months of this, and they were meant to like help me break through. They were meant to give me these like magical strategies that were meant to make me make money and all of this, but it actually went backwards. My business had never been so bad in the whole entire experience. It went backwards, and I earned nothing for 4 months, but I was paying these coaches $5,000 a month. And so I actually had to borrow from someone and get into debt, not just debt for my house that I had, but debt to someone, and I owed them $20,000 and I had none. I was a negative 20 in my bank account, and it was frustrating, as to say the least, because I put all this desire, and I had this real desire to break through, and I put all this, investment and focus and commitment, and I was doing everything that they told me to do. I was doing all these calls. I did 20 sales calls. Every single person said no, and so nothing that like they were sharing me was working, and nothing I was doing seemed to be working, right? And when I encountered this piece, I'm going to tell you tonight, like everything changed. When I encountered this piece that I learned this 1 month after that, and it was actually at the brink of like maybe getting to move out of my house and like I didn't know where I was going to live. Like I was at the like worst point, right? I learned this that I'm going to teach you. And then that month I made $20,000 in my, in the first 20,000 I've ever made. And then I just continued to sustain at least 10, 20, 30, like kept going up and up K a month for my whole rest of my life. Even though I had 33 years of my life of trying so hard, trawling through everything, not making it. There was this before and after point, and I've never struggled with it ever again. And it's just grown and grown. And not just that, my health has never been as good as it is. I've got so much vitality and energy. I have these most beautiful relationships all surrounding me with love, and business is just growing next level because of this piece I'm going to share with you. And as I said, I was looking for it, trying to search for gold. And then it came and it happened and I embodied it and bang, it was never the same ever again. And I'm not making it up. I'm not trying to embellish the story. Like that is literally what happened. Okay. Yeah. Embodiment is huge. So I'm going to talk to you about key pieces as to what changed there and really help you unravel. Like, how can you actually do that for yourself? Who would like that? Would anyone like that? I'd love to hear, while, you said that, Emily, like what landed for you in just that little bit of a story. I didn't go into the depth of it that I can do, but just give you a bit of an overview. I'd love to know what landed for you, what came about. Put it in the chat. Yay. Embodiment. Yes, embodiment is very big. Remembering embodiment, I've done, especially with affirmations, has been really powerful. Yeah. And I will talk a little bit about affirmations and why sometimes they also work or maybe don't work, depending on what I'll share. Searching in the wrong place. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with strategy. There's nothing wrong with action. There's nothing wrong with the masculine paradigm of business, but if you do not have alignment, you're not connected to your soul, you haven't got the feminine frequencies playing about and haven't got those codes, it doesn't matter. Like if you're on the spiritual path, soul path, I don't know if you're in like just a material path, like you're just in the physical realm, like you're not connected to those, like whether it's different. I have an opinion on that maybe you could still make money that way, but I don't believe it will last and it won't be fulfilling, because I've seen a lot of people implode and it not deeply be fulfilling. But yeah, you search in the wrong place, if you're looking for it that way. Trying hard, genuine way to succeed with the right approach, 100%. Embodiment is also giving you information about what is going on in the moment, presence and conscious awareness. Yes, very, very powerful. Growing through embodiment stuff at the moment. Amazing, great. Okay, so what I want to share with you in like these key elements I want to share is one piece I want to tell you is a lot of the time we think that what we create is based on what we focus on. And there is a truth to that. You will create what you're focused on. But it's actually deeper than that. Because I was trying to focus on making money. I was trying to focus on building my business. I was trying to focus on, and it wasn't making it, right? Why? Because it's not actually just what you're focusing on that creates what you create. It's why you're focusing on it, where you're coming from when you're focusing on it. That's actually more of what will actually create what happens. Where are you coming from when you're focusing on that thing? Why are you motivated for the thing that you're focusing on? And there will be different levels. And I'm going to explore these 3 levels for you to understand like why you might be blocked. But the fact is, if you're blocked in something right now, you're stuck in it right now, or there's maybe yo-yoing and oscillating, you aren't probably focused on what you think you're focused on. If it's flowing, you are, you're focused on your heart, you're focused on soul. But if it's stuck or if it's yo-yoing, you're actually focused on something else, because results don't lie. If we shift our consciousness and we shift like our movement towards that, it will shift on the outside. It has to. Sometimes there might be a delay, there can be a couple of week delay from shifting internally to something, but it will happen. But if it's not happening, there's actually still a block you've not been aware of. And it's going to be very liberating for me to tell you what I'm going to tell you. So I want to tell you this part in this story. That the first thing I'm going to talk to you about is where we come from. The first thing as to why we're stuck is because we're coming from the angle of an egoic agenda. There is an ego agenda that is the priority and the focus that is getting all the attention. That is why you're stuck. If you're stuck in business or with money or relationships or whatever it is in your life, if it's stuck right now, it's because there's an egoic agenda that's actually getting all the energy. And I'm going to explain that a little bit in now. So when I was in that place before I was transitioning to having this place of abundance in my business, I had this belief that, what did I want? Okay, yeah, I wanted a business. I wanted a thriving business. I wanted to make 10K, 20K months, and I wanted to support and transform people and then make money as a result, right? That's what I wanted. That's what I thought I was focused on. But it was stuck. Why? Because I didn't actually just think I could go get that. I didn't think I could just like have my business, create transformation, make money. Like I didn't think it was just like, this is what I want. I can have it right now. Bang. You know, I thought I had to do all these other things and I had to be all these other things and I had to go and take care of all these other things before I could have that thing. So I had all these conditions and all these egoic agendas that my ego, my unconscious thought I had to go complete and create and fix myself on before I could go and get what I wanted. I didn't think I was ready unconsciously to just go get what I wanted straight away. So for instance, one of the things that I thought is that I needed to know the best strategy. I thought I needed to know like every in and out of how to do the strategy and how to, do this marketing and do this chat sequence and message this person and make this lead magnet and then, do this sales call with them in a script. And like, I thought I had to do this mechanical bullshit way of how to approach business. And that was this ticket and this condition I had to meet before I could get what I want. So that's why I paid this $5,000 a month to this coach who was meant to be telling me all this stuff. But the thing was, all of that script bullshit and mechanical way of approaching my business took me away from my soul. It took me away from my intuition. It took me away from my wisdom. It took me away from my genius. It took me away from how I do business and how my superpower in business and my natural, authentic way of doing it. And it told me how to be just like a copy of him and what worked for him. And then lo and behold, he didn't just get that for himself. He copied it from his mentor. So I was just copying the copycat who copied the copycat who copied whatever. There was no authenticity in that, But I thought I had to meet this condition and go do this mechanical, masculine like way of business that was completely robbing my soul and my potential client's soul of me and them to get this thing. Bullshit. I didn't have to go do all that to get it. Actually, by doing all that, it pushed it further away. But we can think we got to go learn this new modality. We got to go and then we'll be ready. Bullshit. It's just your ego trying to keep you safe. I thought I got to go have a website. And it's like at the beginning of your business, you don't need a website. Like I had for 3 years of my business, I had this website. 3 people came to me from my website. Like it was not the way to build my business at the beginning. But I thought I had to do all this stuff before. But all of it is just the ego was freaking scared and didn't want me to actually go for the thing. And so it was just trying to take me off track and get me busy on all this other bullshit. So I didn't actually go for the thing I wanted to go for. I used to think I have to lose this weight and look this certain way and look like this Insta model or, before I could have the business. Bullshit. You don't need that. You get to be you and you're authentic you. And the more authentic you are and the more you just go for what you want, the more the right people who are called to you will come. I used to think I had to get a partner. And the funny thing in here is that I would think I have to get a partner and I got to like have this big relationship and success with that before people will take me seriously, even though I was business coaching and doing this other stuff, right? But then I thought to get the partner, I had to build a big business and had to, and so none of them worked because they all like had to happen with one had to happen in the condition of the other and the other had to happen. And so I couldn't do any of it because they all like were conditioned with each other. And that makes it super confusing. So I'm stuck. I'm not going anywhere because I'm just too busy putting my energy into fixing myself, making myself perfect, getting this sorted, getting a modality, getting this coach who tells me about this strategy that just robs me of I'm off on a wild goose chase and my ego's pinging me around the ping board table or whatever it is, pinball machine. And I'm not actually just going to the heart and going for what I want. So I'm stuck. I'm stuck because I'm still expending a lot of energy, but I'm not spending any energy directly going for what I want. I'm just spending all this energy bouncing around on all this bullshit that doesn't matter. I would love to hear what you're taking away because I'm feeling pretty hot and getting heated up in here. So tell me what's landing. And you can unmute if you want as well. Or you can just put it in the chat, up to you. But what's landing?
Can I say something, Miranda?
Go for it, Dal.
You know what? Oh my gosh, before like 10, 15 minutes before you came on, I just went to the universe and I'm so grateful because literally everything you are saying, you're, I feel like you're talking directly to me. Um, I've spent the money. So I am so unbelievably grateful for these free classes. Tears start, I can't stop crying.
Oh, you're so beautiful, huh?
So, um, sorry guys. But I'm getting all the signs. The reconnecting. Um, doing like with my inner child, doing like literally yesterday at work. I'm a dental assistant. Literally yesterday at work, a little girl, 3 days, our birthdays are 3 days apart. So I know her personality and all of her fears, everything came. And I'm like, no, girl, you got this. I really, really had to coach her through. And this morning I was like, oh my God, that little girl is me.
Mm,
And then my son, who is spitting image of me, was my next patient.
mm,
Same name.
mm.
Well, except the last name, but I was like, okay, what the hell are you telling me? So 15 minutes before, and I couldn't stop crying because all these breakthroughs. And now when you're talking, like, oh my God, I feel like you're talking directly to me. And then just how you were just talking about like always going to all these different areas, this ping panging and all these, that's what I've done.
Yeah, yeah. And
And so it's
it's rushing energy, it's wasting. And so we think we're like, I'm flipping doing all this stuff. Why isn't it happening? Yeah, you're not doing anything that's actually for the thing you want and in flow. You're just doing all this other stuff. And the ego is happy because it's not scared that you're going to actually go for the thing that's the big scary thing. It's just distracting you. But you're exhausted and depleted and you're stuck. But you're like, but I'm doing all this, and it's like, so yeah, thanks, hon. Thanks
yeah,
for sharing. Thanks for your
it's
authenticity. I always love having you. And, but the thing is, girls, like, I can't tell you enough. It's structural. It's not personal. If it's not happening, it's not because you can't do it. It's just because there is an underlying structure. You haven't shifted yet. And there is just something there, and we often work on this surface level that a lot, and this is what I said, I've done so much modalities and programs that, like, I can tell you, like, I've pretty much most coaches you've ever been, I probably worked with them in some whatever, like, I've literally tried most things, but it just often doesn't get to the heart of this stuff. And so it doesn't matter what you do and how much of it you do, you're just fluffing around in the same BS, like wasting all this energy, and wasting all this money and wasting all of this whatever, right? So yeah, I'm glad that's speaking to you, hun. So sounds like my story. Need to go for what you love. There are no conditions or circumstances that apply, but need to go for your heart. Yes. And the no conditions preclude us from what we love. Like, it's so true, but we do not live that way. Majority of people don't live that way. They are constantly thinking there are conditions they need to meet. There are perfections they need to iron out. There are things they need to fix about themselves before they can go for what they want. And it's the biggest lie that we've been told. Really, really big. Not true. Stop wasting our time there. Let's go on to what we want, Being busy over here, needing a marketing strategy, needing an email list. Blah, 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 blah. Yep. I hear you. And it's same. That's what I used to think. And again, I'm not trying to say that, like, obviously now in my business, I have an email list. I have a website. I have landing pages, whatever. I have these things, but I'm coming to 1 million in my business and beyond. Before my first 500K, I didn't need any of that, like, and I don't need it anyway. It's just intuitively I get led to do what I do. And I have a team that does it. I don't do it. I pay these people to be doing it. I don't sit there doing that stuff because it's not my genius, and it's robbing my genius to be able to do this. If I did all that, I couldn't channel this stuff to you. This is where I'm here to be. My team support me to do all of that. But you don't need to have that at the beginning. As I said, I didn't have any of that up until 600K or whatever. You don't need it. It's just waste. There's so much more direct, easy, real way to go, and that's not it. So much, how much of my energy is not in what I want to create? I need to prove I'm not a failure first. Yes, that's right. It's like, you don't need to prove anything. We make all this up anyway. We're not a failure. We're not enough. We're not worthy. Like, none of it's even true. And then we go spend our whole life trying to prove it's not true. It's like, it's not even true. Let's just say it's not true and then go live for what you want. It's just, we're laughing at it, but it's really sad as well. I spent so long on this stuff that wasn't even true. And I just made up about myself, and I didn't have to make up anymore, you know? Stuck in the conditioning of my family, always the black sheep. Yeah, I hear you, hun. I feel like I go in and out of chasing my big dreams. Even when I'm chasing them, I'm scared and not empowered and doubting a lot. Yeah. And there's ways I'll teach you and support you in that a bit more, you know, later as well, Dal. So thank you, ladies. So the first thing is we get stuck because we're just chasing an egoic agenda and this BS stuff the ego is trying to get us to go and to get distracted on, and we don't need to do that anymore. That's why you're stuck. You're not stuck because you can't do it, there's something wrong with you, you got to fix yourself. None of that. You're just stuck because you're putting your energy into things that doesn't matter. That's it. Okay, things that aren't true. Second piece is we have this like yo-yoing pattern that can come about, this inconsistent pattern. It could be in motivation or it could be in results, like a little bit of money, but then no money. You know, when my business for a while, I would have 2K and then 7K and then 0K and then 9K and then, you know, this sort of pinging around, or I'd have motivation and then I wouldn't, and then I'd have willpower and then I wouldn't, and then I'd have courage and then I'd stop, and then, you know, I'd hide and then I'd show myself and I'd go back again, and like, you know, all this ping-ponging stuff, right? Or start having some men that I liked and then they would go away and then I wouldn't like them for ages, and then I'd come back and want them, you know, all this BS, right? Just yo-yo shit. So this is oscillating pattern, and the reason why we have this happening is because what we call is our energy is in a negative vision. If you have a yo-yo happening in your life, your energy is in a negative vision. Your focus, where you're coming from, is a negative vision. And when I say a negative vision, it's basically you're focusing on what you don't want, not on what you do want. You're focusing on what your worst case scenario is, what you're afraid of, what your big fear is. Like, your energy is going to preventing that and stopping that from happening. And that's where your focus is. So when I got into $20,000 of debt, my focus was on debt and not having debt. And I wanted to believe I was wealthy, and I wanted all these affirmations that I was rich and I was abundant and blah, 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 blah. Why was I saying that? Why was I doing this work? Because I was deeply afraid of getting into debt and I didn't want to. And I was trying to do everything I could to not get into debt. Lo and behold, what happened? I got into debt. I had no money. It was inconsistent. I had no business. I had clients not coming for 4 months. The big fear I had happened because my energy and focus was actually in the big fear. And I was trying to do everything I could to run away from it. But when we have this negative vision, we actually get attached. So here's the thing we fear, and then this is what we want. When we have a negative vision, we're attached to the fear. The energy is actually in our fear. A lot of it's condensed there. And so we try and pull away and run away as fast as we can and, you know, away from it. But we're just slingshot back because we're actually attached here. I don't know if you've seen this thing. I've done it with my son, and it's like a slingshot like ride where you like have this thing around you and you've got this little sling and you run as hard as you can. But the faster and harder you run, the further and quicker you like, harder you come back, right? It's like that, like a boomerang, like a rocking chair, like you're just going back and forward. And so, you know, practical ways, like it can just be an energetic thing of like there is just more energy in the fear, and so you're just pummeling, you know, yourself with this fear, and so it just magnetizes that and manifests it. But practically, you also, like, I would put on a launch or try and make money in my business or something to get away from not having debt, right, or not having no money, and then I'd have a 10K month or whatever I would have. And then I'd be like, oh, cool. Like, I've had that now. I can rest and I can chill a bit and I can go off marketing a little bit, and I'll just like rest here and like I'm all good. And then, oh shit, I've spent all that money. Like, okay, I got to go back on again. And it was just this like energy, because it was about the money and having it or not, just having a little bit, or, you know, whenever I had it, I would stop doing what I would do, and then I would lose it all and just have to go again. And so it just kept yo-yoing. You know, people have this with weight. When they make it about the weight, they eat healthy and get all, you know, do diets and go and exercise their crazy butts off or whatever, start to lose weight or whatever. And then they're like, oh, I'm okay. Like I lost that weight now. Like I'll eat whatever. I'll go to Macca's and then, you know, back again. And they just go yo-yo diet, right? We can do it in many different fields, but at the end of the day, why this happens is because we have a negative vision. Our focus is on what we're afraid of. You know, I was deeply afraid of being cheated on. I was deeply afraid of divorce. Guess what happened? You know, I co-created that experience with my ex because so much energy of mine was going to that before that point, you know? And I would just be spending so much time in that fear. And I would do things to actually manifest that fear as well. Worry, talk about it, ask him about it all the time, do things that would create distrust in our relationship, you know, doing this stuff, which would actually co-create it as well. So when we are focusing on a negative vision, we end up creating that thing that we're afraid of. If you are yo-yoing, that is why. And I would love anyone again to share like what's landing, or can you see where this may be coming about in your life, or just put in the chat what's landing with that. Do you think we are programmed to be in fear? There isn't, I'm not, and I'll talk, you know, I'll sort of answer that a bit more in the next segment. It's not like there's a problem with fear and that we can't not fear, you know, like I still fear things all the time. Like I'm still afraid the launch won't go well. I'll book in Machu Picchu and like it won't happen, or people won't come and then I'll pay for it. And like, you know, I've got fear. Like fear is natural. It's a part of our human soul, you know, and the way we operate, because we've got to be aware of what could go wrong and try and prevent it. And, you know, there's a utility to fear, right? It's helping us prepare and be aware and all these things. So fear is not the problem. The problem is the amount of energy we put into the fear. And I'll show you in this next segment, like what else we can do instead of putting the energy into the egoic agenda, instead of putting energy into fear, what we can do, which will create flow. So the fear is not the problem. It's just that we are letting our unconscious energy reside there. That's the issue. If you have a lot of energy residing in the fear or in the condition, the egoic agenda, that's where the problem is. So I'll tell you what to do with that next, but good question. So tell me, ladies, key takeaways for this part before I finish on this next piece. Yo-yoing, focusing on what you don't want, putting all your energy and focus on what you don't want. Yes, that's right. 100%. What else are you taking away, ladies? Have clarity on egoic agenda component that happened to me. Amazing. Great. Fear is autopilot. Yeah, it is. And that's okay. If you're not getting what you want, your focus isn't right. Yeah. You're just your energy is in somewhere you're not even probably aware of, is what I would say as well. I think it's what creates the huge frustration. Yeah, 100%. It's very frustrating to feel like you're making progress and then you just sort of end up coming back. But yeah, results don't lie, 1,000% as well. Yeah. So that's the first two structures as to what's creating what's happening in your life right now. And it can be, as I said, on a business level, on a money level, on relationships, how like every field of life, like it is based off like these structures, right? And it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter how hard you try to run away or how many conditions you try to meet. If you're in that structure, it doesn't matter how much you do, you're not going anywhere. You're not making progress. You're in the structure. Like a rocking chair will not move anywhere. It will just keep going back and forward. It's made that way. Like, so the big thing here is that, and this is why I like love the feminine code of frequency of alchemy and what I do, because if you don't change these underlying things, it doesn't matter what masculine action strategy, great big thing you do on top of it. It doesn't change the foundation of what's happening. It just elongates, you know? And that's why I said to you, like, I know people who don't do this work and they just on the physical plane and they're just very much in the strategy realm and whatever, but they're often implode their business. Like I know someone who, you know, people who make millions quickly or whatever, and then it all goes to shit because they've had it in these structures. And so it can't last, you know? Realizing how powerful positivity and what it does to the body as a result, negativity is toxic. Yeah, it is. There's quite a bit I could say to that, but I'll leave it for now just because we're about to move into something else. But autopilot without thinking engages in negative self-talk. of what we don't want and still persists. Yeah. Okay. So what do we do with this, right? What's the other? Because there's another structure that's a flow structure, and the flow structure is what creates what you want with ease and flow. And how do we do that? How do we go from the other ones I've told you to that? What's the secret? What's the difference? And I'd love you to think in your life, because you could probably identify times in your life and parts in your life that you're having stuckness, or you're having oscillation and yo-yoing, or you're having flow. And I want you to even think and ask yourself, like, why am I flowing in this but stuck in this? What's the difference? And look at the consciousness. Something that's really, this is a little tip for you guys, and I'd write this one and be aware of this, is always look at the consciousness you have with the thing you're flowing in, and try and look at that with the thing you're stuck in. Look through the eyes of the consciousness. So for instance, I have a lot of flow in my business, and I have a really high consciousness, like in perspective in business. But for a while, my relationships weren't at the same level, and for instance, I in business will go and do this stuff and sell to people and invite them to my work. And if they say no, I'm like, well, they're lost, I know how good this is. I know how long it took me to make, but oh, well, whatever, and that would be my reaction. But if I went out to a date and a guy rejected me or something, I wouldn't be like, they're lost. I'd be like, oh, what's wrong with me? Oh, they don't love me. Like a completely different, view of my business to that. Right. So I started to look through the eyes of my business, the consciousness that I have there, and go, how would I coach myself in this field? How would I see it here? Because we get rejected in that, and how would I see it? So anyway, that's just a side thing. But how do we create flow? We create it by focusing on what we love. Before, where we were coming from, our focus was on these conditions we got to meet to be perfect or to get what we want. Or we actually focus on what we don't love, what we don't want. Whereas this one is just focus on what you love. Focus on what you would really, truly love, your true desire. And when I made that shift in that time in my business, one thing that I really did was, firstly, stop all the conditions and bullshit I was telling myself that I needed to meet. So I stopped believing I had to be like this coach and I had to copy him and that I had to do all this strategy. And I just stopped putting energy into that. And I was like, no, I can have what I want now. I stopped putting energy into my fear of debt and money. And I just started to just call in and believe that, like, I was abundant. Even though my bank account and other things were trying to tell me I had lack. And in another perspective, in another place in the world, or thousands of years ago, like, I would be considered abundant. I have a house full of stuff. I've got a bed. I've got a fridge full of food. Like, I'm abundant. And so instead of putting all this energy into negative, like, fears and my negative vision, I started, like, putting less energy in that. It still was there. I was still afraid and I'd still acknowledge it, but I wouldn't put all my energy there. I would then tweak it back to, well, what do I love? And I made it not about money, because what I love, like, money is a byproduct of what I love. Money isn't in and of itself what I love. Money was there, and the desire for that was there because I was afraid of not having it. It wasn't, if I go to what I truly love, it's like, I truly love connecting with women. I truly love serving them to my highest and helping them transform. I truly love, like, channeling to them and, like, helping support them in their empowerment and seeing their true beauty. I truly love seeing their life change, their business change. Like, that's what I truly loved. I truly loved coaching. I truly loved teaching. I truly loved speaking. I truly love serving. And so I actually put my energy into that. And that whole month, I served these clients for the whole month for free. I gave them this pro bono stuff, and I served my heart out. And I just, like, was doing what I loved and giving them absolutely everything I could give them. And when I did that, money was a byproduct. My business growing was a byproduct. That all happened, but I wasn't focused and obsessed on it, because I was focused and obsessed with my true desire and what I really loved and what vision I saw and the impact I was going to make. And when I put my vision there and I put my energy there and just saw where it was in the conditions, saw where it was in my fears, and then just like acknowledged that, saw that, and then like, yeah, but I love this and I want this and I'm going to go for this. And I went and did my whole heart in that. And then I went back to this and went, oh, but I'm still afraid of this. Oh, I'm still worried about that. Yeah, I see that. Yep, I hear that. I hear you, Miranda. Like, talk to myself like that. And then I go back to, but this is what I love and I'm going for this. And I'm, I just go back to what I love and put energy and channel my energy back into what I love. I just ran a retreat to Bali, and there were times in there where I was deeply afraid of like no one coming and me looking like an idiot and me having a video and like there's 2 people in my retreat and like what would that do to my brand and my business and blah 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 blah. I had all these fears and like all these conditions I thought I had to meet to be this epic retreat person, whatever, right? I would acknowledge that, see that, and go, yeah, but this is what I love. I love retreats. I love transforming women in travel. And like, it's just the 2 biggest things I love the most out of everything. And so I want to do it. I love it. And as soon as I connected back to my heart, and as soon as I connected back to why I was really doing it, so much energy happened. So many people came, it flowed. It was such a beautiful experience. Like I loved it there as well, but it was only that happened when I had the energy in my heart, in my soul, in what I loved. If it was in my conditions, if it was in my agenda of my ego, if it was in my fears, it would leak. My energy leaked and it would go. And my launch went to shit, when it was like that. But as soon as I went back to love, and I came back after the retreat, and like all these people wanted to work with me and one-to-ones and coming into alchemy. And I hadn't even launched my program yet and I haven't even told people about it. But it was all filling and going crazy because I was just in the flavor of love. I was in the frequency of love. I was being vibrant and magnetic. And I was just, my energy was pouring into what I love and who I love to be. And I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't taking any action to sell, but I was filling my programs just because I'm in love. Love is the most powerful frequency on the planet. If you put more energy into you and your love for yourself, what you love, if you put more energy in that, see the fear, see the doubt, see the insecurity, like, yes, see all that. I see it, feel it, I love you, but this is what I want. This is what I love. And I'm going to put my energy here. Even if it's a slight bent, even if it's 51% focus, just tiny bit more focused on what you love, it changes everything. And that month that I changed, that was the one thing I changed. Where I was focusing on went slightly more to what I love and who I truly am, like who I love to be, and slightly less off what I was afraid of and what I was worried about and what I was, my ego was on about. And it was just slightly, it's getting better and better. I have more and more ability to like put more and more power into love now, but at the beginning it was just very slight, tiniest shift, but it made all the difference. If I'm going to tell you one thing I did to break through and continue to, that's it. I went from the seesaw into my fear, my ego, my agendas, my conditions, my whatever. I went from all like this to then slightly like this, and the seesaw slightly shifted, and it's going more and more like this. And all I need to do when I'm getting off track, which I do, is just continue to go, that's it. Throughout the day, I get in default, I get scared, I get afraid, I get triggered, whatever. I'll go back into this, and I just got to go, yeah, I see that, but I want this. Yeah, I see that, but I love this. Yeah, I see that, but I'm going for this. I see that, but I think this is actually really, truly who I am. Like, that's all I do all day. If I gotta tell you a secret, it's like, not all day, but when I need to, whatever, I just pivot from truth to love, from the truth of right now, my fear, to love, from lack to love. That's it. There's obviously deeper paths I take and, like lessons, and there's deeper meditations and like there's other things, but at the core of it, that is it. That's what it is. Yeah, a lot of us forget what we love or don't know what we truly desire, as a lot of women, a lot of mums, because, we don't often ask ourselves that. And we're so busy giving everyone else what they want and desire and thinking about what everyone else, we don't even know. When I started doing this work on my superconscious myself, I was like, I don't even know what I love. I don't even know what I want to do. I've not had the choice and the option. I just was trying to survive. But that is why there are dry AF women walking around without any creativity, without any inspiration, without any desire, without any passion, without any sexual energy, without any sensual energy. And it's killing your magnetism, and it's not bringing in abundance. It's shutting you off. You are shut down for business. You are like, lights are off. When you are like that, in that energy, lights are off, and it doesn't matter what you're doing in your little, imagine we've all got these little businesses, right? And in there, you're jumping around and you're trying to advertise and whatever, but the lights are off, the curtains are all shut. No one's seeing shit. No one's called because it's off. Yeah. We got to be on. We got to be turned on. This is why our inner world and our magnetism and our soul and our superconscious and our juiciness of life, this matters more than anything. This is why, like, I'm very busy right now in my life. There's a lot of things happening right now, but it doesn't matter. I prioritize my magnetism. I prioritize my energy. I prioritize my inner world. It does not matter what's happening on the outside. That's my focus, because I know if I don't have that, nothing works for me. I'll answer that question in a second, Pauline. How often do you... yeah, let's just remind me to answer that later. Is it important to share what you love? I'll answer that later as well. If you guys have any questions, I'll answer that in a moment. But if you could just tell me your key takeaway. I got a bit passionate again. Tell me key takeaway if you could. Yeah, that's so true. That's very true, Tracy. The most difficult person to beat is the one who's doing what they truly love in those fields. Yeah. Tweak is the key. Yeah. See your doubt and fear and put it to the side and focus on what you love. Yeah. It's important to have awareness for the fear, the doubt, like those pieces, but putting our energy back into what we love and moving with that, for sure. So while you guys are writing your key takeaways, I will take questions in a moment, but I do want to just let you know something, because, you know, I wasn't even going to do this masterclass. Like I was going to do my challenge next week, and that was it. I was having my break until next year, but I did it because I loved it. I love this. I love connecting with you ladies. I love connecting with women outside of my clients and just supporting you and offering these pieces. And as I said as well, it refines things for me and how I communicate it. And I just love it in lots of ways. But I also ultimately love supporting you beyond this, because some of you, like, this is enough for you right now, or this is where you can get access to me right now, you know. And then there's others of you who are like, I'm really serious and I really want to go to the next level, and I want to, I feel a thread with you, you know, and I want to go further with you. I don't want to just do a 1 hour free thing. You know, I want to see where else we can go, because if I've got this here with this, what can we do together in a month or 3 months or 6 months, or, like, you know, what could we do? So I just want to let you know, if you're feeling like the thread with me, I call it, because there's like people that I'm just like, there's just threads that I have with people, you know, and I can just tell, I'm like, we're working together one day, like, you know, either now or soon or something. We're like, this happening, you know, I can tell. So if you feel that, I just want to let you know, like, how, yeah, this is why, yeah, that's right. I love you, Pauline. I just wanted to let you know how it looks like, you know, up the moment to work with me, and what's on options of if you want to look at continuing and exploring that together. So that you know, the pilgrimage is something that's my big offering of my 1 year journey with me. And that's sort of really for the women who are on their pathway with business and abundance, and they just really want to up-level it to a whole nother layer, but, you know, and deepen their spiritual walk to abundance. But yeah, it's a very deeply held container. We do 3 retreats around the world. It's one-to-ones with me. It's group work with me. I teach the superconscious in the biggest depth that I teach out of everywhere, and the soul work and the embodiment work that I teach. And then also the soma, I call it, which is like the money, abundance, practical pieces of the human plane. I teach those things, and that's the pilgrimage. And then there's alchemy, which is my 6-month mastermind. And that is similar in the pilgrimage of those pieces that I teach, but it's through the group work of 6 months and the sisterhood that we have together of the Alchemy Girls. And yeah, there's a lot of accountability, a lot of courageous action that takes place as well, but a lot of deep feminine work in that space as well that really supports transformation in a business front, but also in a personal front and life as well. And then there are my retreats. And so people that, can't necessarily come into the pilgrimage yet, or like they're still, if there's space and my clients haven't taken up all the spots, like space to come into my retreats. And the next one that I have coming up is in Machu Picchu. And yeah, Lake Titicaca in the end of April next year. So 2024, end of April to the start of May. So if anyone wants any info on any of those, and you again, just like would love to begin to explore anything, can you put in the chat like pilgrimage, alchemy, or retreat, just so I know who's interested in something, and then I can just send you some info to that. So if you could put in the chat one of those words, that would be amazing, just so I'm aware of your interest. And awesome. Thanks, Emily. And so for instance, with you, Emily, like I don't know if we're connected on social media and Gabrielle as well. So I don't know if we're connected on social media for some of you. We are cool. If you could reach out and message me, my request is if you could message me on Facebook or Instagram, that would be amazing, because it's just so much easier for me to do that with trying to find people. So if you could do that, that'd be awesome. And I will also get a little link here that you can fill out your info so that I've got your email or something. But I always love to find Facebook super easy, or Instagram. So if you could message me your interest, that would be amazing. So then I can just send you the link and explore that with you. But I will find the little. Here we go. I'll give you the link as well. So if you can't find me on social media, then we can give you this and you can enter that interest in there. So I do have, let me just pop that in. All right, I'll pop it in a moment. It's not seeming to want to do it right now. I do have a little bit of time now to, answer some questions and just really help support some of the integration of this as well. So yeah, I'm going to hold the space for a little bit longer for that. I'm just trying to give you guys this link. So link. It's not seeming to want me to paste it. Oh, here we go. There we go. Cool. So if you don't connect with me on Insta or Facebook and can't message me, then just put your info in there and I'll reach out to you. So I saw a couple of questions pop up. So let me come back here and have a look. And then if people want to unmute, that sort of thing. So I think Pauline had one. How do you know when to switch? It has done lots of pro bono stuff and I'm getting further into debt. Okay. So the thing about pro bono and the thing about service is that with money, there's always an equanimity with money. There needs to be a balance with money in that what I give you and you receive, it's got to be balanced with the energetics of the universe. If I overgive and then you under receive, you under give to me, like in return or whatever, then I'll feel resentful and you'll feel guilty. And if it's the other way and you receive, the other way, if I give less than what you've given me and like I don't deliver so much, then you'll be resentful and I'll be guilty, So the thing about pro bono and free things that can happen sometimes is some people can start to feel a little guilty or like, a bit funny that they've received so much and they're not paying, or, and so then they can get a bit weird and then like ghost you or something. You're like, I've just given you all this, and but they're just awkward and they're uncomfortable and they don't know why, and that can be a thing. Okay, so let's just be aware. So the thing about pro bono, like, and I mean, obviously I still this is free, like I still do free things, like, right, but it's where it's coming from again. So for me, when I was doing it, I give them like 2 or 3 free sessions, but my program was 12 weeks. So they were getting a taste and they could see that there was so much more. And then I was doing it to really let them see like the power of the work that I did, and really support them. But I received as well, because at that time I wasn't sort of sure of my coaching, or like I was going into a new field, because I did it at the beginning, then I did it 4 years in, and I was going into a new space and I wanted to really get the results and like really back myself and like that I can support people. And they were going to give me a testimonial and they were going to refer people if they found it beneficial. So there was still a transaction in that. It wasn't just them getting free, having no way that they need to invest back, So I think that's important. Like if you do anything free, do it quite short and whatever, just to give them the taste and the pieces. But they also need to meet you where you're at and offer you something in return as well, whether it be testimonial or referrals or like showing up and really committing, and that you can like stop the thing together if they're not. Because the big thing about free is that people just don't have the investment in it as well. So they're not, but yeah, I mean, I think too, look at what you're doing and connect to what you're excited to share. Because like I used to do these a lot, but in like smaller groups. And then I was really loving it, but then I stopped loving it because it got old, And so then I did challenges, and then I've done it like a bigger masterclass, like, because I still love that. So I'm still like, it's not like this strategy works. I just do it because I love it. Like there's other ways I could do it. And this is what I love. So connect to how you love as well. So if you're not loving the one-to-one pro bono right now, like find another way to add value that you do love, I would say with you, with the debt thing too, it's like you also got to be claiming your value and your worth, and like working out a way you can give them some support and give them a taste of your work for free to a degree, but then like also start asking for the payment and charging it, because some people can just get stuck in pro bono and just giving for free, and because they just don't see the value of themselves.
And that's where I don't know how to transition it. Like, I mean, because I have no problem doing like the 2 or 3 free sessions, but then
in those 2 and 3 free sessions, your intention and desire needs to be, I'm here to serve, but I'm also here to see if there's connection and that we're going to continue. Like when I have my challenge and stuff, the ladies have to apply, because I need to see if they're a fit for looking at a potential to work with me. Like I'm not just giving everyone free things. Like, so I think as well, when I do a free thing, my intention here tonight, to be authentic, isn't just to sit here and give you guys awesome stuff. My intention is also that whoever feels true and it's aligned, they'll see it and we'll know together and we'll explore that together, right? I'm not just here to intend to give you free things. Like that's not why I do it, right?
Right.
When you're doing these free calls, like it also, your intentions to support and transform, but also to see like if there's alignment to work together. And so your session with them needs to also value a sales call in the free sessions. Like you need to do a structure of a problem solving call where you're looking at their vision and what they want, and they're looking at the current reality and where they're at, and then looking at what they're missing. That needs to be a part of one of your sessions, because if you don't build that discrepancy and you just try and give them tools to fix things right now, they'll just be fed up to a degree and think they're satisfied, and they're not. And you've not served them in that way because you haven't shown them what's the real transformation there.
So when I'm doing the sessions,
don't just and try and give them so much and like give everything to the point that they're like, oh, cool, I'm good now. Spend some of the time showing them how they're actually, it's not okay. And it's if it's true, some of them may actually be all good and they don't need you. So like, don't try and, when there's a client and I have a call and I'm like, yeah, you're not ready, or like, we're not a vibe, or whatever, I'll tell them. Like, I'll just say like, I'm not in a sales call trying to prove to everyone they need to work with me. I'm in it to see, is there alignment? Is this real or not? And I'll tell the truth, whatever I see. If I see someone's not ready, I'll say it. I see someone doesn't need me and what I give and they need this, I'll tell them, like it's just, so I think that's maybe missing as well, Dal. It's not, you're lean too into the service, but it's giving them a disservice because you're not actually in the sales process enough.
Right. No, I agree. Yeah. Right. Thank
So,
you. Thank you.
and ultimately, sometimes we think sales is sleazy and slimy, but the biggest service is sales.
Mhm.
Because if I'm going to tell you, ladies, like you just do an hour free call and everything will happen in your whole life, like I'm not going to tell you that because it's not how it works. Like, and that's not what happened to me. I had to do
Mhm.
a lot. Now you don't have to do as much as me. You don't have to spend as much as me. Like, but you do. There's a journey, and you will need to invest, and you will need to do these things because it's a pathway to it, right? So
Yeah.
it's a disservice for me to not sell my stuff and to, but to just undercut it and be like, you guys will be right, and I'm just giving you the free. Like, that's a disservice, because it's not true.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it doesn't
Thank you so
ultimately get
much.
what you want, right? So yeah, I think
Right. Thank
lean
you.
into your sales, Dal.
Thank
Beautiful.
you.
Nikki, have I got any meditations on connecting to our hearts and love? I have a lot with my clients. Like that's a big thing that I do in terms of free meditations or ones I could suggest. The abundance one that I've given to you, Dal, would be one. Joe Dispenza has one called Tuning into New Potentials, which is a really, really powerful one for visualizing our desire. So you could try that as well. The ones I have are mostly for clients. I don't have a lot of those that are free ones. But have a look. You could look at my website. There might be one other one as well on there. But yeah, that's what I'd suggest, hun. What do we got here? Yeah, I got some good takeaways there. Amazing. Change your behavior. I don't see any fear. Awesome. Good takeaways. Are there any other questions? Here we go. When you say you coach individuals and companies, what is it you specifically coach them on? Harry, are you asking about my work, or can you clarify what you want to know there, Dal?
Yeah, just specifically what it is that you do with your clients and your companies. Like, are you a life coach? Like, yeah, specifics.
Yeah. So I call myself an intuitive business coach, really, but ultimately I'm fundamentally like a women's empowerment coach still. Like that's what I was when I began, and I still am, but ultimately, like most women that come to me want to create abundance with their business and abundance with their life, but they want it from the feminine frequency of like ease, flow. A lot of women come to me and companies like come to me and they, and I have women, a lot of coaches, but they'll have lawyers and real estate and like people in all different fields, artists, like, but a lot of the time they've been very strategy heavy, been very masculine heavy, been very action oriented, courage. And they've got themselves to an okay point. A lot of some of them, some aren't making much, but some are making 100, 200 million already, but they're exhausted, depleted. Their whole life is a mess because of it, and they can't sustain that. I don't want to, and they want to be alive and fulfilled and on fire. And so most of what I do is supporting them to bring in more of their feminine frequency, their magic, their superconscious, their intuition, their deeper soul work, like to really embody and shift at an emotional level. Because and a bit of the psychology pieces that I brought to then have them at their highest level of consciousness, their truest self, like their highest frequency, so that they can manifest abundance with that easefulness. And so a lot of them end up cutting back to 2 days a week and having time for family and friends and like life and health and make more, in the process. So that's just, what I mostly do, Dal. But I help people work on their like relationship to money and abundance as well, because like it's not just energetic pieces. There's actual ways we relate to money and are with money and our business that needs to shift as well. So hope that answers your question, hun. One of my free clients is the one that committed to the most, made me push through and continue, and she keeps showing me years later how I changed her life. Amazing, Jenny. That's awesome. Need to get my girl sleep. Oh, awesome. No worries. Oh, that's all good, Dal. All good, Brady. You can get the replay as well, Dal. It'll be emailed out to you. So does anyone have any questions? Any other questions?
I have a question of when something big comes up some sort of block or something, I sometimes get confused as to how much attention I should give it, or acknowledging it, deconstructing it in some way, and bringing my attention back into my heart, because there's something going on at the moment and my focus is in trying to resolve it. And now that I'm saying it out loud, I can see the truth in that. But I'm just wondering how much.
So it's
for
really
you.
intuitive in that for me, in that most of the time, like I'll do a super conscious process or something that's sort of quite quick in alchemizing what I'm going through. But if it doesn't clear or shift or move with that, then I'll be present into, okay, what else is here? Like what, and that's when I'll drop more into the soul work, I call it, and do a bit more emotional work with it, or shamanic work or somatic work, or because it may be a deeper layer and a cellular piece that just isn't going to shift from that. So majority of the time I'll sort of approach it from an alchemical quick shift. And then if it's still lingering, or there's just other pieces that want to be witnessed, or, then I'll go and yeah. But a lot of the time it's even just being present with the feeling and just loving it and letting it be there, because it's the resistance to it, the fear of what it's going to then destroy, and like the judgment of it, like that's the stuff that makes it linger, And so when I was catastrophizing that my retreat was going to go to shit, and I like, no, this my business was going to whatever I thought was going to happen from it, like I just sat with that fear and really let it be, and just sent love to it, and just like, yeah, okay, yeah, that could happen. Like, yeah, that's a possibility. Like, there's a lot of possibilities. That's one, like, and the more I just loved it and let that be, and then just the more it just was able to, just be accepted with unconditional love and move, because it didn't need to stay, because it was just being witnessed. I think sometimes the resistance, the fear of like, oh, this is going to manifest on, that can actually create more problems. Being more at peace and ease, and like letting things happen and be as they are, and just like learning the lesson of it in the moment, and saying it's like, that's okay, it's not a problem, like there's no problem, this is fine, it's just what it is right now. It's been really big, because a lot of the time we make it a problem by fearing it and then getting more judging on it, and oh no, it's all going to fuck everything up, and like, we just pile stuff on it, and it's actually just a tiny thing that just wants to be seen, and it will move, so I just release the pressure, Dal, and just trust that you'll know. Like a lot of the time with my stuff, it's like I just sort of know what tool to use, or what like to give myself. Or like yesterday I felt super depleted, and I just gave myself a bath, and that's all I needed, just like lay there for an hour, and it was just beautiful, and that was it. Another time I'll need something else, like, but yeah.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Are you tuned into your higher vibrational frequency constantly, and do you think you need to be truly to receive success? No, I'm not. I'm not constantly in that. And I don't believe you do need to be in it constantly to, as I said about the 51%, I just think you actually just need literally 51% of your energy to be more predominant in, Parliament and whatever, like they win by 51%. Like you just need a slight majority, like it's, but obviously, the more I do this work and the more I embody it, the more momentum I'm gaining, like the more I am in a higher frequency, more and more and more. And obviously that's just ramping up how much I'm in flow. So it's just sort of going like I'm in flow a lot more and more. Like, and it's, but saying that, like, there's still times that I'll get in dips and whatever, but, yeah, but I definitely also created before, not in that as well. It's just, it's just now ramping up the more I'm embodying it. So, thanks, Kate. Love that. Thanks for being here, hon. Any other question? Or are we feeling pretty sweet and complete? Looking pretty sweet and complete. Brody, I hope you can watch the replay and catch up on what you miss. I think someone else maybe joined a bit late too. Time zones and all the things. It's always a challenge. No, you don't have to be back. That's all good, Dal. Great to have you here. Anyway, you got what you needed, but yeah, the replay will be, Brody messaged me and I can send it to you tonight. Like, but the replay will be, emailed tomorrow by my team as well. But yeah, thank you so much, ladies. Really, really loved having you here and appreciate your gratitude. If there's any, question or, anything, my women's coaching circle, like I love to connect in there and things too. And yeah, I'll have in after the new year, like other free pieces. But sending you so much love. You're all divine, beautiful goddesses, and I want you to really see yourselves as that. And the more you see that, your whole life will shift to that goal more and more. Okay, so much love to you, and hope you have a beautiful day, night, morning, wherever you are in the world. See you, ladies. Lots of love.